Welcome to the Job Board Podcast. I want you to imagine a scenario for a moment. Just picture a highly qualified job seeker.
Let's say an experienced emergency room nurse.
Yeah, exactly. An ER nurse.
Mm-hmm.
She's sitting on her couch. She just finished a grueling 12-hour shift. She's exhausted.
Right.
She's thinking about a career move, so she pulls out her phone.
Mm.
And here's the thing. She doesn't open a traditional search engine.
She's not opening Safari or Chrome.
Right. She doesn't pull up a blank white box to just type a query and hit enter. Instead, she opens the ChatGPT app.
Just taps the voice icon.
Yeah, she taps it and just says naturally, what are the best niche job boards for healthcare professionals looking for travel contracts in the Pacific Northwest?
And in a matter of seconds, she gets a completely synthesized, custom-written answer right there on her screen.
Exactly. Now, here is the stark, unvarnished new reality for you. Whether you're a job board founder, an operator, or a growth marketer tuning into this deep dive today.
Your job board is either explicitly named in that specific answer, or it isn't.
There's no page 2 anymore.
No. There is no list of 10 blue links for the user to aimlessly scroll past while they, look for a recognized brand.
You're either explicitly cited as the authoritative solution to her problem, or you're completely 100% invisible to that candidate.
It is an incredibly stark binary. When you lay it out like that, it's almost chilling. I mean, it completely rewrites the fundamental rules of digital discovery.
The rules the entire internet economy has relied on for what, 2 decades?
Yeah, 20 years. We spent 20 years optimizing for the click, and suddenly the click is secondary to the citation.
It's a total paradigm shift. And honestly, that shift is exactly why we're here. That is the mission of our deep dive today.
We aren't just here to talk about high-level theory or panning about the future of search.
No, definitely not. We are going to equip you with a practical, highly tactical, 5-step execution playbook for navigating this exact transition.
A transition that's coming to be known as answer engine optimization.
Right. And our grounding source for this deep dive is this incredibly detailed, really timely piece of research titled, let me get this right, AEO for job boards, how to get your job board cited by ChatGPT, AI overviews, and Perplexity.
Yeah, it was put together by Abhi Tungal and Jack Walsh from the Kavuno team.
And for those who don't know them, they have spent years living at this exact, really messy intersection of job board SEO, structured data, and growth marketing.
But before we go too far down the rabbit hole of tactics, it's probably worth taking a second to clarify our terminology.
Because there's a lot of buzzwords right now.
So many. If you spend any time in growth marketing circles or on marketing Twitter, you might hear this emerging field referred to as GEO.
Generative Engine Optimization.
Right, which is the academic term that got heavily popularized by some researchers out of Princeton recently.
Or you might just hear AI SEO.
Yeah, which is basically the broadest, most generic umbrella term you could use. But for our purposes today, and specifically for the job board audience listening, we're going to use AEO, Answer Engine Optimization.
Why the distinction, though? Is it just semantics, or does AEO actually mean something functionally different for a founder?
It's definitely functional. Just think about why job boards exist in the first place. They exist to deliver concrete answers to very specific career questions.
Right. A job board isn't just generating generic content or vague thought leadership.
Exactly. It is answering a direct, immediate need. Who is hiring? What is the salary? Can I work remotely? So AEO is just the most fitting framework for how operators should approach this shift.
Because it's all about becoming the definitive, trusted, and cited answer to those complex career questions candidates are now asking these AI engines.
Perfectly said.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's talk about the stakes.
Yeah.
Why is this happening right now, and why should a job board founder really care?
I know where you're going with this.
Well, I can hear the skepticism already. A lot of founders are probably thinking, okay, ChatGPT is cool, but Google is still a massive monopoly. People still Google for jobs. Is this really an emergency or just a shiny object?
I assure you it is absolutely not a shiny object. It is a fundamental behavioral shift, and the data completely proves it.
Let's hit him with the stats from the source.
The statistics are genuinely staggering. According to SEMrush's 2025 zero-click study, 57% of mobile searches now end without a single click.
Wait, pause. Let that sink in for the listeners. 57%. More than half the time someone searches for something on their phone, they never click through to a website.
More than half. They type a query. The search engine provides an AI overview or a direct answer right there on the results page. The user reads it, gets what they need, and puts their phone away.
Wow. For a traditional publisher relying on ad impressions, that's an extinction-level event.
It is. And at the exact same time that traditional search clicks are vanishing, referral traffic coming directly from AI engines, meaning people actually clicking a citation link inside ChatGPT or Perplexity, that traffic exploded by 357% year over year in 2025.
357%.
Yeah, that data comes from SimilarWeb. So to answer the skeptical founder, the shift isn't on the horizon anymore. It's not a prediction for 2030. It is sitting right here in our living room right now.
Okay, I hear those numbers, but I have to play devil's advocate for a second. AI referral traffic, even with that crazy growth, is still a tiny fraction of the total volume of traffic Google sends, right?
Raw volume, sure.
Like, if I'm looking at my analytics dashboard, Google might send me 50,000 visitors a month, and maybe ChatGPT sends me 500.
Right.
So why should I redirect my engineering and marketing resources just to cater to the 500?
What's fascinating here is that your objection is exactly where most standard SEO conversations stop.
They just look at the raw numbers.
Exactly. People look at the sheer volume of the shift and say, well, the absolute numbers are small, I'll wait. But the real story, the hidden goldmine for job boards, is about the massive difference in traffic quality.
Okay, tell me about the quality.
This isn't just about trying to capture a flood of eyeballs to juice your vanity metrics. It's about capturing incredibly high-intent conversion.
Because the psychological profile of the person who arrives from an AI referral is different.
Fundamentally different from standard organic search traffic.
Explain that. How is an AI referral psychologically different from someone just clicking a blue link on Google? A visitor is a visitor, isn't it?
Not at all. Let's look at the hard data first, and then I'll explain the psychology. Microsoft Clarity.
Which tracks user behavior and heat maps, right?
Right, across millions of sites. They revealed that visitors coming from AI referrals are 3 times more likely to convert than visitors arriving via traditional Google organic search.
3 times.
3 times. And we have specific industry benchmarks in the source material that back this up with unbelievable precision. An established agency called Seer Interactive found that sessions referred by ChatGPT convert at roughly 15.9%.
Hold on. 15.9% conversion rate.
Compared to 1.8% for standard Google organic traffic.
15.9% versus 1.8%. That is a completely different universe of intent. If I'm a growth marketer optimizing for signups, an almost 16% conversion rate sounds like a typo.
Word magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why exactly is this happening? Why is an AI referral so potent?
It comes down to the nature of the interaction and the friction involved. AI answers are designed to be entirely self-contained. The AI does all the heavy lifting of synthesizing the info.
Think about ChatGPT's scale, 800 million weekly active users. But it sends 190 times less referral traffic to external websites than Google does.
Because it wants to keep you in the chat interface. It doesn't want you to leave.
Right. So because the answers are so conversational, users rarely feel the need to click away. They ask a question, get a synthesized answer, and they're satisfied.
Therefore, when a user actually does click a link provided by an AI in a footnote, it's because they have incredibly high intent.
They've already read a full synthesis of the market.
Yes. They implicitly trust the AI's recommendation because it feels like a personalized advisor. They're ready to take immediate action.
Ah, I see. So it's the difference between walking past a random billboard and having a trusted friend hand you a business card saying, this is the exact person you need to talk to.
That's the perfect analogy. And this is precisely why the Kavuno team stresses that in the AEO era, the brand mention is the new click.
Brand mention is the new click.
Just being named establishes an immense amount of trust and authority with the candidate before they even arrive at your site. They are pre-qualified and pre-sold by the AI.
That decoupling of raw traffic from actual revenue is such a critical concept. I think it requires a total rewiring of how founders think about growth.
Absolutely.
We're so trained to look at the chart going up and to the right. More unique visitors equals more success. But our source points to NerdWallet as a prime example of this new reality.
Oh, the Q4 2024 numbers.
Yes. In the fourth quarter of 2024, NerdWallet saw their raw monthly unique users drop by 20%.
Now, let's be real. In the old days of growth marketing, a 20% traffic drop would mean an emergency board meeting.
Absolute panic. An SEO manager is definitely getting fired.
But despite that massive drop in top-of-funnel traffic, the revenue actually grew by 37%.
Revenue grew 37%, while traffic dropped 20%.
Precisely. Now, it's important to note that while NerdWallet's specific growth was heavily tied to expansions in their insurance revenue and higher payouts, The directional signal for all growth marketers is crystal clear.
You no longer need millions of low-intent bouncing visitors to drive massive business value.
No. If you run a niche job board, let's say you specialize in remote roles for cybersecurity professionals, and you manage to capture just 200 high-intent AI referrals a month.
But they're converting at a 15.9% rate.
Exactly. Those 200 visitors are going to meaningfully move the needle on your revenue. They'll apply for jobs, sign up for your premium network, trigger recruiter payouts.
So if I'm a founder listening to this on my commute or at the gym, what is the very first thing I should check when I get to my desk?
You need to look at your analytics, but you have to know where to look. Most standard setups don't cleanly separate AI traffic yet. You need to open up your Google Analytics and look at your referral sources. If you are not actively tracking referrals from domains like ChatGPT.com, Perplexity.ai, or Claude, you are effectively flying blind.
You could have a hidden, highly lucrative traffic source driving tons of conversions and you wouldn't even know it.
It's the ultimate blind spot for modern growth teams right now. If you can't measure it, you can't optimize for it.
Do this next, folks. Look at your Google Analytics today.
Highly recommend it.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Whenever a major tech shift happens, the cynical assumption from the startup world is that the incumbents are just going to swallow up all the new opportunity.
And of course.
If you're running a bootstrapped niche job board, you are asking the burning question, can I actually compete with giant behemoths like Indeed, ZipRecruiter, or LinkedIn in an AI-driven search world? Don't they have infinitely more money and data?
That is exactly the right question to ask, and it's usually the biggest source of despair for new founders, but the answer here is a resounding yes. It completely flips the traditional script.
How so?
Ethan Smith, the CEO of Graphite, the growth agency, he provided a brilliant insight on this. In traditional SEO, if a startup founder asks an agency how to compete with them, Indeed, for a broad term like marketing jobs, the honest advice is don't even bother.
Right, because it's a suicide mission.
Completely. You simply do not have the domain authority, the 20 years of accumulated backlinks from major news outlets, or the sheer scale to outrank a giant on page 1 of Google.
Traditional SEO is a David versus Goliath battle where Goliath almost always wins.
By sheer force of gravity. But in answer engine optimization, the playing field is entirely different. An early-stage company can write a highly detailed, thoughtful Reddit thread, or produce a deeply informative YouTube video and earn an AI citation tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Yeah.
You can start showing up in ChatGPT's answers immediately, bypassing all those years of domain authority building that Google demands.
Wait, hold on. I need to push back on this because it sounds too good to be true. You're telling me a startup founder writing a thoughtful comment on Reddit carries more weight with ChatGPT than Indeed's 20 years of domain authority?
Yes.
That sounds like a spammer's paradise. How is that functionally, technically possible? Why doesn't the AI just default to the biggest player in the room?
This brings us to how these large language models actually fetch and synthesize information in real time. It all comes down to a technical architecture known as RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation.
RGAG. Okay, let's break that down. Imagine I have no idea what RGAG is. Give me the simplest analogy possible.
Sure. Think of a base AI model like GPT-4 as an incredibly smart college student taking a test. If they just answer from memory, that's their base training data.
But their memory might be outdated.
Right, they might not know what happened yesterday, and sometimes they just hallucinate an answer to sound smart.
We've all seen that.
Our RAG turns that closed book test into an open book test. When a candidate asks ChatGPT a question about the current job market, the AI does not answer purely from its static training memory.
It goes looking for the answer.
Exactly. The AI pauses, acts like a researcher, runs out to the library of the live internet, retrieves relevant structured sources, synthesizes them into a coherent answer, and then cites its work with footnotes.
Okay, that makes sense. But what is the AI looking for when it runs to the library? Why pick the startup over Indeed?
Because what the AI is desperate for during that retrieval phase is highly structured, deeply trustworthy, and incredibly fresh data. It doesn't just want a giant domain name, it wants the specific answer to the specific question asked.
And as the source material points out, job boards are accidentally perfectly built for exactly this architectural need.
Accidentally perfectly built. I love that phrasing.
Let's dig into that. Why are job boards uniquely positioned to win the RAG game?
They have a massive structural advantage here, starting with freshness. Let's look at traditional publishers, a blog, a media site. For them, Freshness is an expensive uphill battle.
They pay a writer to publish a definitive guide to nursing salaries in 2024. 6 months later, inflation hits, the market changes, and the post is completely stale.
And to update it requires human intervention. But for a job board, freshness isn't a chore. It is literally baked into the core business model.
Right. Listings expire. New roles are posted daily. Salary data updates autonomously with every new cohort of jobs.
The AI engines actively reward this constant churn. It signals to the model that the source is a reflection of current reality, not a static snapshot from 2 years ago.
So the AI looks at a job board and sees a live, pulsing data feed. It looks at a blog post and sees a dusty encyclopedia. That gives the edge on freshness.
Exactly.
But what about the advantage of being specific versus broad? Because Indeed has fresh listings too, millions of them.
True, but because Indeed has to be everything to everyone, they lack deep vertical authority in any single industry. They are a sprawling horizontal aggregator.
A niche job board, on the other hand, isn't just a database of links.
No. If you run a board exclusively for climate tech jobs, you have editorial content specific to that sector. You have salary benchmarks for very specific roles like carbon capture engineer.
You have structured data tailored to the nuances of one industry.
And when an AI is looking to synthesize the best answer for a user, it prioritizes that deep topical authority over mere domain size. It wants the boutique specialist, not the massive department store.
The Kavuna report gives a fantastic illustrative example of this exact dynamic playing out in the real world. A niche remote job board called Himalayas. They went up against the giants and won.
Himalayas is the perfect case study. By heavily leveraging their topical authority in the remote work sector and structuring their data impeccably, they reached 365 million impressions and 5 million clicks.
Bypassing the mega aggregators completely.
Because when an AI needed to understand the nuances of remote work, not just generic jobs, but remote compensation, global hiring, asynchronous work, Himalayas was the clearest, most authoritative signal on the web.
That depth is critical. But I think we also need to talk about how the users themselves are changing.
Oh, the search behavior.
Yes, right. We've been trained for 20 years to search like cavemen. If I want a job, I go to Google and type maybe 6 words, remote marketing jobs, Austin TX. No grammar, no nuance.
But when people use ChatGPT, they don't do that.
No. They talk to it like it's a human recruiter or a career coach. They use full, complex sentences with multiple intersecting constraints.
Our source notes that ChatGPT queries average 25 or more words.
25 words. That's
Yeah.
a massive difference from a 6-word Google search. It's a totally different language.
The example provided in the Kavuna piece is perfect. A user might type, "Find me remote marketing manager jobs based in Austin that pay under $120 K, allow me to work asynchronously, and don't require a master's degree."
That query is hyper-specific, highly constrained, and deeply personal.
And traditional broad search engines completely choke on a query like that.
They really do. If you put that into Indeed, you're going to get a mess. You'll get jobs in Austin that aren't remote, or remote jobs that require a master's, because their search is just matching keywords. It doesn't understand context.
Precisely. But a niche job board, with its programmatic categorizations, highly structured data, and deep understanding of its own vertical, is already uniquely built to answer that exact 25-word query perfectly.
The AI pulls the exact constraints from your structured data and serves it up.
So if we know that targeting these hyper-specific 25-word questions is the goal, how does a founder actually do that?
That brings us perfectly to the first step of our 5-step execution playbook. Section 3, the 5-step execution playbook, Part 1, question targets and on-site optimization.
Step 1 is fundamentally about shifting your mindset. In traditional SEO, you spend your time, energy, and money targeting keywords. In AEO, you must target questions.
You need to start by identifying the exact natural language questions you want your job board to be the definitive answer to.
But you don't have to just sit in a room with a whiteboard and guess. You can start with the data you already have.
Take your competitors' paid search data or your own Google Search Console data and systematically translate those high-volume keywords into questions.
For example, if your target keyword has historically been best healthcare job boards, you need to reframe that as the conversational question a user would actually type.
Like, what are the best job boards for healthcare professionals looking to switch careers?
Or, where should a hospital administrator post open nursing jobs? You can even leverage AI to do this. Feed your existing keyword lists into Claude and ask it to generate the natural language, long-tail questions users would form around those topics.
But you can't just stop at historical search data. People ask AI things they would never ask Google.
Absolutely. You must mine community platforms. Reddit, Quora. Look internally at your customer support tickets. If you run a B2B motion, listen to your sales calls.
Find the exact objections, the specific anxieties.
Those sources are gold mines for the exact phrasing of the long-tail questions candidates are asking. And once you have your list, you need to track your share of answers.
Share answers. Let's explain how to track that.
Using emerging tools like Graphite or Profound, these platforms allow you to input your target questions and measure how frequently your brand is actually appearing across different AI surfaces.
ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google Overviews. It gives you a baseline visibility metric.
Okay, so you have your questions. You know what you need to answer. Step 2 of the playbook is on-site optimization, specifically looking at schema depth.
I want to emphasize this to the audience. A lot of founders think they have this checked off. If you think you're good to go just because you installed a WordPress plugin a year ago and have basic Google for Jobs schema, the Kavuno report makes it very clear that is simply not enough for AEO.
It really isn't. Think of schema not as background code, but as a nutritional label for your website.
Good analogy.
If a human looks at your page, they see formatting, bold text, context. An AI crawler doesn't see that. It sees raw data. Schema is how you explicitly tell the machine what it is looking at.
And AI systems aggressively reward completeness in structured data.
If you give the AI bare bones information on your nutritional label, it will skip over you for a source that provides a richer data set.
Let's break down the schema tiers the Kavuno team outlines. What is the bare minimum?
The required tier includes the basics: title, description, and date posted. If you don't have these, you aren't even in the game.
But to be genuinely competitive in AI search,
You must move into the recommended for AI tier. Your schema must explicitly include base salary. Even if it's just a min-max range, include it.
it also requires employment type, full-time, part-time, contract.
And crucially for the modern era, applicant location requirements, especially for remote roles. Does remote mean anywhere in the world or remote within Texas? The AI needs to know that to answer those 25-word queries.
And for those who want to completely dominate their niche, there's the advanced tier. The source specifically mentions WNET sock codes. What on earth is that?
This is where you separate the amateurs from the pros. The advanced tier includes defining the occupational category using specific ONET-SOC codes.
WNET is the database maintained by the U.S. Department of Labor.
Right. It classifies every job into a standardized taxonomy. And what's fascinating is that an ONET-SOC code completely removes linguistic ambiguity for the AI.
Give me an example of linguistic ambiguity.
Think about the job title, Director of First Impressions.
Right. A quirky startup title for a receptionist.
Exactly. A human knows that. But an AI might look at Director and Impressions and think it's a senior marketing role. If you rely solely on text, you're asking the AI to guess.
But if you include the ONET SOC code for receptionists and information clerks,
it acts like a barcode. It tells the machine exactly what category this job belongs to without the AI having to guess. It guarantees you show up for the right queries.
That's brilliant. It's translating your job posting into the AI's native mathematical language. Now, the source also talks about multi-schema stacking. Are we just cramming as much code on a page as possible?
Not cramming, architecting. It means you don't just put schema on individual job listings and call it a day. You stack multiple compatible schema types on your higher-level pages to give the AI massive contextual understanding.
For instance, on employer profile pages, the pages detailing the company's hiring on your board, you combine organization schema with breadcrumb list schema.
Right, the breadcrumb list schema maps out the hierarchy of your site for the bot. It says, this is company X, which sits under the healthcare category, which sits under the main site.
And on career guide pages, like a salary report, stack FAQ page schema alongside breadcrumb list schema.
This web of interconnected data makes your site incredibly easy for an AI to parse, understand, and extract data from.
Which flows right into the next part of on-site optimization programmatic and salary pages. The category by location by salary programmatic matrix. Our source calls this AEO Gold. Why?
Because it provides incredibly deep topical authority at a massive scale. If you build out a programmatic architecture that generates thousands of landing pages covering specific intersections.
Like a page for remote data science jobs, a page for data science jobs in Austin, a page for entry-level data science jobs.
Yes. Each of those pages is dynamically loaded with fresh listings, structured schema, and updated salary averages. By having this massive matrix of specific answers, you demonstrate the exact, narrow, deep expertise that LLMs are programmed to prefer during a RAG retrieval.
But the architecture of those pages has to be deliberate. You can't just throw up 10 links in a generic title. If I'm building a salary page, how do I format the text so the AI actually wants to pull it into a citation?
That brings us to the anatomy of a truly citable page. The Kavuna team details that it starts with a very specific AEO optimized intro paragraph of about 150 words.
This paragraph has to directly answer the implied query of the page.
Right. If your page targets marketing manager jobs in Austin, your intro shouldn't be generic filler like, Austin is a great city with many exciting marketing opportunities. Browse our jobs below.
An AI will ignore that completely. Zero value.
It should read something like, the median marketing manager salary in Austin, Texas is $98,400 as of February 2026, based on 247 active verified listings on our platform.
That specific phrasing is so important because AI engines will extract that passage wholesale. It's a data-rich snippet that proves you have real empirical knowledge.
And this ties into a vital concept called information gain.
The secret weapon for job boards. Google's patents and modern AI models explicitly reward sources that provide new information not found in every other generic result.
If your page just repeats Wikipedia or, indeed, the AI has no reason to cite you, it wants to synthesize unique perspectives.
How does a job board do that?
By utilizing your first-party platform data, you are sitting on a goldmine of proprietary information. The winning formula is to converge on the known and then diverge with your unique data.
Converge on the known, diverge with the unique. Give me a concrete example.
Say you're writing a guide on nursing salaries. You start by converging on the known reality. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the national average salary for a registered nurse is $81,220.
Grounding the content in reality.
But then you add information gain. However, based on an analysis of 12,247 active specialized nursing contracts currently open on our platform, the actual median salary being offered in Q1 of 2026 is $94,000, representing a 15% premium.
AI engines prioritize citing original real-time data above almost anything else. You provided a proprietary insight the AI can't get anywhere else. It has to cite you.
Exactly.
So we have the unique insights. What does this mean for formatting the text? We aren't writing novels, we're writing for machines.
Enter the concept of answer nuggets.
Answer nuggets.
They are the core unit of extraction for AI engines. Tight, 40 to 80 word entirely self-contained passages that directly answer a specific question without requiring the AI to read surrounding context.
When ChatGPT creates a footnote citation, they're almost always pulling an answer nugget from your page.
To write a good one, start by using question-formatted headings. Don't use a generic H2 that just says responsibilities. Use an H2 that literally asks, what does a remote marketing manager do day to day?
And immediately follow that heading with your 40 to 80 word answer nugget.
Also, heavily utilize bulleted lists of 3 to 10 items directly below these headings. AI parsers process structured lists much more reliably than thick blocks of prose.
And crucially, include inline quantitative data. This was highlighted in the Princeton GEO study, right?
Yes, published at the KDD 2024 conference. They looked at what variables increase visibility in AI responses.
They found that adding quantitative data, named sources, and inline citations boosts content visibility in AI-generated responses by up to 40%.
A 40% boost is incredible. Instead of writing, Austin has many marketing opportunities, you write, Austin has 1,247 open marketing roles with a median salary of $94,000 according to our February 2026 platform data.
It's an irresistible, mathematically dense answer nugget for an AI. Okay, listener, do this next. Mentally commit to checking one thing today. Take your highest traffic job listing and run the URL through Google's rich results test.
It's free, takes 10 seconds. Ensure your base salary and employment type are properly formatted. If the tool throws an error, you are effectively invisible to the AI's retrieval process.
Perfect. Let's move into Section 4, the 5-step execution playbook, Part 2, offsite earned mentions and technical foundation. So, what does this all mean?
It means flawless on-site optimization is necessary, but not sufficient.
Right. If someone asks ChatGPT, what are the best healthcare job boards? Your beautiful schema isn't going to save you if nobody else on the internet is talking about you. You need co-occurrence across the web.
Ethan Smith calls this the earn strategy, and the fundamental principle here is a bit mind-bending. In the AI era, the sheer volume of your brand mentions across trusted third-party sources is actually more valuable than ranking #1 organically on Google for a single keyword.
Being mentioned casually in 5 different places is better than fighting for 2 years to be the #1 blue link for healthcare job board.
For winning AI citations, absolutely. Large language models build internal brand associations by seeing your name appear in context alongside specific topics repeatedly across the web.
If the model sees your brand in a highly upvoted Reddit thread, then linked in a YouTube description, then mentioned in an industry listicle, all in the context of healthcare jobs, the AI learns you are the authoritative consensus.
The AI says everyone is pointing to this board, therefore it must be the answer.
Let's talk about the absolute kingmaker here, Reddit. The source material makes it clear that AI models pull heavily from Reddit for recommendation queries.
But Reddit requires a very delicate touch. The worst thing you can do is spin up 100 bot accounts and spam your link into every thread.
The Reddit community is ruthless. They'll ban you, and worse, the AI models will associate your brand with spam.
The actual play is authenticity. Create a real account. Explicitly disclose your affiliation. Hey, I'm the founder of XYZ board.
Then provide genuinely useful, deep, empathetic answers to people's questions in relevant subreddits like r/jobs or r/nursing.
As Smith notes, 5 incredibly high-quality, thoughtful, upvoted comments from a disclosed founder can be enough to trigger a citation in an AI response.
If someone asks, how do I negotiate a travel nurse contract? And you write a detailed 3-paragraph guide based on your platform's data, linking your board as a resource that is a golden signal for an AI.
Highly leverageable work. And then there's YouTube and listicles. The Kavuno team points out YouTube is basically wide-open territory for niche job boards.
Because there's almost zero competition for high-quality videos reviewing the best nursing job boards in 2026.
If you create a well-produced video targeting your niche, the AI will pull the transcript, parse the entities, and cite your YouTube link when users ask for multimedia recommendations.
And for listicles, the strategy is brilliant. Reverse engineer the AI's current citations. Don't blindly pitch every HR blog.
Go to ChatGPT. Ask it, what are the best job boards for my niche, and see which exact listicles it cites today. Then reach out to the authors of those specific pages and pitch to be included.
Getting added to a page the AI already explicitly trusts is infinitely more valuable. Okay, pivot to technical foundation, step 4 of the playbook. There's a massive debate in the publishing world right now about AI crawlers. Which AI crawlers should a job board block in their robots.txt file?
The answer from Perplexity is unequivocal. Allow all of them. Do not block them. You should be rolling out the red carpet.
Let's explain the breakdown between search crawlers and training crawlers because founders confuse them.
Search crawlers like OAI SearchBot or Perplexity Bot power the real-time answers. If someone asks a question right now, these bots sprint out to the web to find the answer for the RDAG retrieval.
If you block them, you are instantly invisible in live searches. But what about the training bots, GPT bot or Claude bot? Shouldn't we protect our proprietary data from being absorbed for free?
For a media company with a paywall, maybe? But for a job board whose goal is discovery and matching, blocking training bots is a massive strategic error. You want your brand baked deeply into the foundational knowledge of the model itself.
So your job board can show up in synthesized responses even when the model decides not to run a live web search.
The more AI systems know about your job board on a subconscious level, the more surfaces you'll appear on.
Makes total sense. And the second critical part of the technical foundation is solving the stale listing problem using dual protocol indexing.
Because if ChatGPT sends a candidate to a job listing on your site and they land on a 404 page because it expired,
you lose trust with the user and with the AI engine. Its algorithms will learn to stop citing you.
Freshness is a requirement. You can't wait for Googlebot to casually crawl your site. You need to use the Google Indexing API, which handles Google Overview's ND Index Now, which feeds Bing and Copilot.
By integrating both, you proactively notify search engines within minutes when a job is posted or expires. Do this next. Take 5 minutes a day, verify that OAI SearchBot, PerplexityBot, GPTBot, and ClaudeBot are all explicitly allowed in your robots.txt.
Which brings us to the final step, Section 5, measurement and experimentation. How do we know if any of this is working?
AEO measurement is a new frontier, but you can establish a baseline right now. Set up custom channel groups in Google Analytics 4 for ChatGPT.com, Perplexity.ai, Copilot.microsoft.com, and Gemini.google.com.
And Microsoft just launched a massive new tool for this in February 2026. Bing Webmaster Tools has a dedicated AI performance dashboard.
It shows you exact citation counts, which pages are referenced, and the specific grounding queries triggering Copilot.
You can see the exact 25-word questions leading people to your site. Ethan Smith's advice is, test what actually works. Pick 5 target questions. Try leaving a high-quality Reddit comment or publish a YouTube video and track your dashboards to see if your visibility shifts.
Hypothesize, execute, measure, iterate. Your goal for this week is to create that GA4 custom channel group for AI search. It takes 10 minutes and instantly uncovers hidden traffic.
Now, let's lay out the 30-day week-by-week plan to actually execute this transition.
Week 1, audit and baseline. Run schema tests. Run 20 long-tail queries in ChatGPT to see who is cited. Set up GA4 and Bing Webmaster Tools.
Week 2, foundation fixes. Upgrade job posting schema, add base salary, employment type, and 1 SOC codes. Implement dual protocol indexing.
Week 3, content creation. Write salary guides using your first-party platform data. Add 150-word AEO intro paragraphs to programmatic pages with answer nuggets.
Week 4, earned visibility. Contribute authentic answers to 5 niche subreddits. Pitch 3 listable authors. Publish 1 YouTube video targeting your niche.
Phenomenal blueprint. Top 3 takeaways. Number 1, brand mention is the new click. You are cited or you are invisible.
Number 2, niche job boards have a structural advantage over generic incumbents. AI prioritizes deep topical authority and fresh structured data.
Number 3, winning in AEO requires flawless on-site data combined with widespread off-site co-occurrence on Reddit, YouTube, and listicles.
First 3 actions this week. Run 20 queries to see who is cited. Fix your job posting schema. Configure your GA4 custom channel groups.
The playbook is clear. But before we wrap up, I want to hit on a final, somewhat chilling concept from the Kavuno team.
Agentic AI.
Yes. We've talked about getting cited for users, but we have to look ahead. Perplexity's Comet browser can already auto-apply to jobs on behalf of users.
We're entering an era where AI agents will interact directly with employer-applicant tracking systems.
The candidate tells their AI, find me 5 remote marketing jobs and apply while I sleep.
And when an AI can do that autonomously, the undifferentiated middleman job boards, the simple databases of links, will be bypassed entirely.
Wait, so the AI just bypasses the board completely?
Exactly. Why would an AI agent stop at a job board if it can read the internet itself? The only way to survive the agentic AI future is to build a board so deeply authoritative, so rich in unique data, that the AI must consult you.
You cannot just be a directory. You must become the ultimate vertical oracle for your industry.
If you achieve that information game, the AI won't bypass you. It will rely on you as its primary source of truth.
The ultimate vertical oracle. That is the goal. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Now get out there, check your schema, and start optimizing.